Okay, so why is weight loss, fat loss, energetic? And the reason why is because I have said on so many of my videos that everything is energy. You are an energetic being. Your thoughts have electromagnetic power that affects our cells. I mean, the easiest example I can give you is stress. You feel stressed out, your body feels it in many different ways. All kinds of diseases and ailments come up when we are stressed. And so that is just thoughts. All stress is thoughts, whether that could be future, whether it can be something from the past. We're thinking about something that could happen that is creating a physiological response within our body. Or, if we keep thinking about negative things, that is creating physiological responses in the body. And it's changing and altering our cells. It's affecting our digestion, shutting our digestion off. It's creating havoc within, our energy system where we feel like we are fatigued all the time, or, we're having sleepless nights. All of these things are based on thoughts. So it has a response from the body. Our body and our mind are not separate. Everything is combined. Everything is connected, I should say, not combined. It's connected. And the way we think and the way we choose to live our life is a response of how our body is going to react. And that also obviously goes with the food that we put into our body, because everything is energy. There's food that is energy. So you have high frequency foods and you have low frequency foods. So even if somebody, you have all of these certain scientists that are out there saying that calories are calories, doesn't matter where they come from. And that is absolutely false, because there's a lot of high frequency foods that contain a lot of vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are going to enhance your body and keep your body alive. Whereas, we have low quality processed foods loaded with chemicals that could be equally equivalent in calories, but do nothing to enhance the body system. So when we get back to how does fat loss affect how is fat loss affected by energy? That is several ways. Number one, a lot of women that I know, and I'm going to speak on women because I'm a woman and a lot of my friends are women. And what I have seen over the years is that a lot of my women friends that have a really hard time losing fat, and they've gone on so many diets, which again, go to other videos and see, I don't believe in dieting. I think that as soon as we can shift into a better lifestyle, then we can be free from looking at calories and looking at food, because we're just going to attract and want to put in good quality food into our body. So I just don't look at dieting or calorie counting or anything like that. But what I've seen with a lot of my friends is that they are holding on to fat for a couple of reasons. Number one, cortisol is way too high, stressing out all the time. And number two, events and circumstances that have happened in their life, and their body has held on to those stress responses and traumas as a form of protection around the body. And so our body a lot of times will hold on to fat as a form of protection on a subconscious level. So a lot of the time it's not a conscious thing. But knowing my friends and knowing the things that they've gone through, I can see very clearly that their body is holding on as a form of protection. And maybe they've gone through really poor relationships in the past, and it has damaged them, and they never worked through, like allowed it to come through the body and be released. And so that is a form of protection. Sometimes it's, just different other life circumstances that's holding onto those fat cells. So what are some things that we can do in order to shift that? Well, the number one thing is, as I've always said as well, and I know this sounds so hokey in the beginning, but just listen to what I have to say. And that is, love yourself where you are today as you are working on the best version of yourself. So we can't get the ideal body, the ideal health, the ideal fitness, the ideal happiness and joy on a day-to-day basis if we are consistently beating each other, ourselves up. I'm having a hard time talking today. I don't know why. We can't get there. We can't get there from here. We need to reformat our form of thinking and the way we're talking to ourselves in order for us to see things from a different light, for our body to start to feel safe. And so we need to start to give ourselves self-love. And if you are in a state of like, you have a lot of resentment and, you know, regrets in your life for the way you've lived your life, and so you hold a lot of hate for yourself, or you look in the mirror and you've constantly said that you've hated yourself, or you beat yourself up in certain ways. You know, I know some women, they hate their legs, or they hate their bum, or they hate, you know, their chest or whatever, and they're constantly putting a lot of negativity there, and they're putting hate towards there. Well, where attention goes, energy flows. So where you're constantly saying negative, hateful things, those areas are only going to expand in the way that you're putting that energy to. So if you're saying you're hating yourself and you're constantly fat and you can't stand it, those areas are going to keep growing. Those areas are going to keep expanding in negative ways. And also you're going to be creating a lot of ill health for yourself, because our body is meant to thrive and be loved, because we are love. Ultimately, the end of everything is only love. And the second we start to look in the mirror and say that we love ourselves, and we start to, throughout the day, look at things that you like about yourself and catch that and tell yourself that you love that about yourself. Even if it's like, you know what, you love your eyelashes. Tell yourself you love your eyelashes. You love your attitude today. You love that you've made a decision to be a healthier, better version of yourself, because all of us are consistently growing as a spiritual being to be better consistently. And when we are allowing ourselves to grow and expand, then we are going to reach new levels that we never even realized. But so many of us, we limit ourselves with our thoughts. We keep ourselves in these little boxes, and we consistently beat each other up, and we focus on the social media and are comparing ourselves to everybody else. And then that feels like an unsafe environment. And so we're holding on to fat cells for that reason as well. You know, comparison is the thief of happiness. It really is. And it's so easy to do with social media. And if I can at all shed some light for you guys, is to try to do some detoxes with social media. You know, if you have to do it with work, then post, but don't scroll, or just give yourself like Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays to scroll. You know, really start to limit yourself. And if you can't limit yourself, then you can see, okay, well, maybe I have a slight addiction to this, and this is something I do have to work on. So looking at yourself as an energetic being, and that the words and the thoughts that you have towards yourself are affecting you. And so if you want to get on the right track of health, there's number one is start the path of self-love. As you are, you know, beginning to go for walks, beginning to maybe go to the gym, beginning to do a home workout, beginning to do something that makes you feel really good, where you're moving your body and you're doing something different that you never did before. It's where you're choosing to go to the grocery store after you've eaten, so you're not going hungry, and choosing better quality food that are going to enhance your life. And, you know, it doesn't take, you know, I know everybody's saying, you know, I'm really confused at what to eat. Look, just look at the basics. What is growing? What is organic as much as possible? If you love meat, get, you know, locally grown meat. I know in Canada we have some really great local farmers. I'm really lucky where I live. Really good quality meat, and that's what I go with. Good quality fats. You know, go with the seasons maybe. Right now we're in fall, and at this time that you're watching the video as I'm recording this, it's in fall. So I love to do a lot of root vegetables. It's cold here. And I love to do some stews and broths and all that type of things that nourish my body, and I feel like it nourishes my soul on the same level. And I just give myself self-love. And when I'm eating, I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not scrolling as I'm eating, which most people do. They have a break and they're on their phone eating. And so what's happening is that you're eating unconsciously. So then you put your phone down and you think, I'm hungry. I want a snack. I want chips. I want chocolate. I want this. And not realizing it's because you weren't being present with your food. You weren't being present with yourself. You weren't looking at the food. And here's another big tip. I am not a religious person, but I absolutely 100% believe in the power of prayer. And I believe blessing your food makes it affect the energy of the food. Because again, look at water, guys. Look, we are, 75, 80% water. And when you look at Dr. Emoto's stuff and how when we speak to water, it changes the water molecules. I talked about this in many videos, been studying and teaching this stuff for over 25 years of how water molecules change by the thoughts that we have when we're around it. So if you are saying negative things to water, it's going to change the water molecules into almost ugly structures. And then when you say positive, loving things, it will turn into beautiful structures. There's so much science now that's behind all of this, and more and more and more. And so our body is made up of water. So think about when we are talking negative towards ourselves, it's going to change the structures of our body. It's going to change the cellular structure of our body. And so we need to take a note of that. And so when we're drinking water, bless your water. Thank you so much for releasing these fat cells that I do not need on my body. Thank you for making my body so healthy and vibrant and energetic on a daily basis. And see how you start to feel. Give it a whole month. Give it a whole month of doing this. Taking baby steps every single day to do little shifts is going to change your life in the long run. So if you give yourself, 2 to 3 months of making small little changes, moving your body more, starting to bless your food, bless your water, catch yourself when you're saying something negative to yourself, telling yourself that you're safe. And this is why, I'm a big advocate for meditation when you can incorporate it into your life, is that it's really important to get into your body. So just saying these things, like I said, is not going to just do it. You need to sit with your body, breathe into your body, feel your body, and start to feel the love that you have for it. Because again, a lot of times we're working on autopilot. Oh yeah, I need to do this, or, affirmations. And sometimes affirmations work, but a lot of times, depending on your circumstances and what's going on, a lot of people, it doesn't work for them. So get into your body, feel yourself as you're sitting there and breathing, and start to just have so much gratitude for this body that has carried you through this life and all the things that you have done to it and for it and all of this. It's still working for you. And then you bless it, and then start to talk self-loving talk to yourself. And then, possibly that can be something that will become a habit for you. And so going back to the food, being present, feeling the food, blessing the food, eating, thinking about your day, not scrolling. And then when you're done eating, then you can think, hey, am I still hungry? Give it a little bit, because usually it takes about 20 minutes for it to register in the brain before we feel full. That's why we overstuff ourselves a lot of the time. And just allow yourself to feel that intuitive need that you need. Do I want food because I didn't sleep last night? My cortisol is high. Am I craving all these things? Am I craving and stressing right now? And so I'm going for these foods because my body is in a stressful state, and that's an easy thing for me to do, so I can push down the feelings that I'm feeling instead of feeling them and allowing them to come up and really see that fear, as the acronym, false evidence of appearing real, isn't real. It is what we've created within our ego, and the fear just, a lot of the times overtakes us. And I'm guilty of that too. A lot of the times, and especially within the last 6 months, a lot of the things I've been going through in my life, fear definitely bubbles up, and it starts to overtake me. And then I become irritable and grouchy because I'm fearful and I don't know how to deal with it. So what I need to do is give myself that space. I go and sit, and I realize that I'm the creator of my reality, and I can shift my life no matter what state it's in. And I can create, based on my thoughts, my beliefs, and my actions, I can create change. And that can be within my body, and that can be, outside of my circumstances, where I can shift energy. I can move energy. Why? Because I'm a powerful person. You can move energy as well. And, if there's a point in time that I can be outside and ground myself in the earth to really help to elevate my frequency a lot faster and my energy a lot faster, then I will do that. And this also goes to a topic that I really wanted to speak about, which is, when people are going through some kind of disease and ailment, and what they'll say is, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight this. F this disease. I'm going to fight this. And what we need to understand is that, again, with that energy of fighting, that is not helping you. What we want to do is sit and think and sit down and get into our body again and realize that all the diseases, all the things that are going on with us are messages that our body is out of balance, that there's things out of balance, that there is, maybe a lot of stored rage and guilt, shame, traumas, anger, fear that we have stuffed down, and that has created disease, because that is definitely something that happens. We're energy beings. And so almost all diseases are created on an energetic level somewhere. And so when we have an ailment, it's important for us to say, how can I help? What is my body trying to tell me? What has my body been trying to tell me? Because this is something that might have not just happened overnight. If you have been living a life of eating poor and drinking a lot or doing a lot of drugs or pharmaceutical drugs and reckless life where you're completely detached from yourself, your mind and your spirit, your body, then this might be a wake-up call for you to connect with yourself and for you to heal for good. And so when people are saying, I'm going to fight this, that's a negative energy that you're putting out. You want to say, I am going to be the best health of my life. I'm going to overcome this, and I'm going to listen to what my body needs, because your body starts whispering to you when it needs something. It whispers. And a lot of people ignore that whisper and starts to speak a little louder, to give you a little bit of ailment, gut issues. Maybe you got appendicitis. Maybe you got, gallbladder issues, and you ignore it. Just take pills, get that removed, get that organ removed. Oh, get another organ removed, get my tonsils out. Again, then the body starts to scream at you, because other ailments are going to start to come up and prop up, because you never listened to the whispers. You never listened to it getting louder. And so now your body is trying to yell at you and then giving you maybe a bigger illness that you have to deal with in order for you to sit and listen to what it needs. And some people will never listen. Some people never want to get on the track to health, because I think ultimately they are so, in a way, addicted to their lifestyle and addicted to the friends and the tribe that they have, that they don't want to separate from that, because that feels so scary. And I see that a lot, especially in small towns where, a lot of people party, and they party their whole life. And then, when they kind of get a wake-up call, they don't want to enhance their health by changing or stop partying and drinking or doing drugs, because then that will separate them from the tribe of people that they've always known. And again, we're all on our own journey. And so if that's the journey that they choose to do, then that's a journey that they choose to do. But then there's other people that realize that the journey that they were on was a self-destructive journey, and they decide to shift and change. And then they notice their whole life starts to shift and change, and they start to feel that joy in their life for the first time, because they know what real health feels like, and that they are, growing spiritually, and they're connecting their mind and their spirit together. Because I think that we are in a war of the minds right now, and where you see out there that there's so much propaganda and trying to disconnect who we are and trying to disassociate, our mind and our body, and look out here, get the answers out here, where all the answers are within. And so to sit and be within and be loving towards yourself, you are able to see the health that you want to see. So going back to fat loss, I know I got on a little tangent, but I feel that it was very important to go there, is that the moment you start to realize that you are safe within your body, and your body is always here to help you and to elevate you and to love you, that you are allowed to shed the fat. And you just need to start telling yourself that. And it's not by restricting calories, but it's by starting to put better food in. It's looking at portion sizes. And you know what? We do have an inner knowing of what is too much and what feels right. And again, eating in the present and eating consciously without your, your phone to distract you, you're going to be able to feel, okay, I feel full now. The next thing that will help you shed fat is that when we are in a stress state all the time and we're in a negative state, we're in a self-loathing state, our body becomes acidic. And so when we become very acidic, it's really hard for our body to release fat. Those cells want to hold on. So the more hydrated our body is, the more good food what we're putting in our body, the more love we're giving it, the more movement we're giving it, then the more alkaline it can be, so that it can begin to shed the fat. So I believe that the self-loathing, how we're speaking to ourselves, is number one. Feeling unsafe on an unconscious level to release that fat is the second thing. And then the third thing is having an acidic body based on, the high processed foods, the severe dehydration that is going on in the body. And that's not you going to the tap and getting water, because you have to remember, even if it's so-called clean, it's still filtered with a lot of all the pharmaceutical drugs that are in our water system. So you have to have a better water filtration system that will help. And then adding in trace mineral drops to help alkalinize the body. If it's spring and summer and you have the opportunity to do some juicing to just really alkalinize the body, that will really help as well. And getting out into nature, as I've said a million times, but always needs reiterating because we tend to forget those little things. And before you go to sleep, the intentions you set for yourself is very important, because that plays on your subconscious mind. And so what are you listening to? What are you watching? And what are you thinking about before you go to sleep? Very important. What are you thinking about when you first wake up in the morning? Very important. And again, you just shift yourself. You think of something that is stressful or hateful. You have the power to change your thoughts. Thoughts are just energy. They are not real. We can shift them. And as soon as you start to think about these things, oh yeah, that's not real. Even though you've been so addicted to feeling that in your body and probably in your stomach, because as soon as you feel those stressful thoughts, your stomach starts to react. So I counsel that. What is something beautiful that happened today? What is something really exciting that I'm looking forward to? Who is somebody that I really love that I want to think about right now? Your child, your sister, your dog, your cat, like any of those things you can do and start to shift. So just a reminder, we are energetic beings, and that in order for us to shift and change and to release fat, it's not just about the exercise. And remember, you can never outrun a bad diet. You'll see, as like my friends that got into their 30s and 40s and 50s who used to be able to get away with that in their 20s and early 30s are like, oh my God, I can't get away with that. Well, no, because you're not feeding your body on a cellular level the things that it requires anyway. And then it starts to break down, and then you start to see the aging process start to accelerate on a high level, because, our skin is a reflection of what's going on inside as well. Our thoughts and our emotions and the food, all of it is connected. So I love you guys, and I hope this brought you lots of awareness, and I'll talk to you on the next video.